Okay, so we all interact with AI, right? And sometimes it feels like this magical but totally unpredictable beast. But here's the thing, behind every AI tool that you actually trust and rely on, there's a hidden craft, a really rigorous process that's all about taming that beast. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the super crucial work of AI evaluations.
And look, the stuff we're diving into today, this isn't just some academic theory. It comes straight from a guide that's become the Bible for thousands of the top engineers and product managers. You know, the people who are actually in the trenches building the AI tools we use every single day.
So that makes you wonder, right? If all the smartest people in the industry are laser focused on this one thing, what's the big fundamental problem that they're all trying to solve? Well, it really starts with an experience I am positive we've all had. Let's just call it when good AI goes bad. Oh, you know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? You ask the AI something simple, and it spits out a totally bizarre answer. Or it confidently just makes something up. Or it completely misses the point. It's so frustrating, and more importantly, it just shatters any trust you had in the tech. So, how do the pros stop that from happening? Well, it turns out there's a whole system for it. The best way to think about it is like an AI quality control system. And what's really interesting is this disclaimer the guide's authors give you right up front. They're not giving you a set of rigid universal laws. They're sharing hard-won, sharp opinions from people on the front lines. And that tells you something huge. This field still relies deeply on human judgment. So what are AI evals anyway? Well, at their core, they're just a formal process for checking an AI's homework. The guide uses a perfect analogy. It's basically the quality control department for AI. They make sure that what you're using is accurate, safe, and actually does what it's supposed to do. And to do that kind of quality control, you have to be able to see how the AI got to its answer. That's where something called a trace comes in. It's the complete record of everything, the input, all the internal steps, and the final output. It's literally like a coach reviewing the game tape to see exactly how a play went right, or, terribly wrong. Okay, so you've got the game tape. Now what? Well, that brings us to the actual process. This is how you hunt for errors. The guide lays out this really clear 4-step playbook. First, you gather a whole bunch of those traces to create a dataset. Next is something called open coding. And don't worry about the fancy term. It just means you go through and tag every single type of error you see. Then comes axial coding, which is where you group all those little tags into bigger, more useful categories. And last, you don't just do it once. You keep repeating the process, refining everything, to find the deep-seated reasons why the AI is messing up. And here's one of those sharp opinions in action. When you're judging an AI's answer, should you use, say, a 1 to 5 scale? I mean, it seems more detailed, but the guide points out that it just leads to endless arguments over whether something is a 3 or a 4. My 3 could be your 4. Instead, they strongly recommend a simple pass or fail. It's way faster, it's decisive, and it forces you to get crystal clear on what good enough actually looks like. Now, it's also important to know that these evals play 2 totally different roles. First, you have guardrails. Think of these like the bouncer at a club. They run live in the product, doing a quick check to block any obviously bad stuff from getting through. Then you have evaluators. This is the deep detective work we've been talking about, done offline to hunt for new, undiscovered problems so you can make the whole model better in the long run. Okay, I know this all sounds pretty technical, but it all leads to what the guide argues is the single most important part of the entire system, the human in the loop. And I mean, it's the obvious question, isn't it? In this day and age, can't we just get one computer to check another computer's work? And if the answer is no, then who? Who is actually sitting there doing all this reviewing? On this point, the guide could not be more direct. It's super tempting to just outsource all this review work, but they say that's a huge mistake. Why? Because external teams just don't have the context. The right way to do it, use your own engineers and product managers. They're the ones who get the users, they understand the product deeply, and they can immediately take what they learn and use it to fix the product. It builds this amazing culture of quality from the inside. Now, to be clear, this doesn't mean AI has no role to play in its own evaluation. Not at all. It can actually be an incredible assistant. It's great for things like suggesting what kinds of errors you should be looking for, or doing a first pass to screen for the really obvious, known issues. It can even summarize a super long chunk of text to make the human review go faster.
But, and this is a really big but, there are some hard lines you just don't let the AI cross. It should not be making the final pass or fail call on quality. It's terrible at finding new, subtle, or unexpected problems. And most importantly, you cannot ask an AI to define your quality standards for you. That takes human values. That's a human job. Period.
So, we've gone through the process, the people, the whole philosophy. Let's bring it all home and talk about the so what. Why does any of this techie, behind-the-scenes stuff matter to you? Because ultimately, all of this intense, detailed, human-led work, it's the difference between an AI that feels like a frustrating toy you can't really depend on and one that feels like a genuinely trustworthy tool that you can integrate into your life. This hidden craft is what builds your confidence. And that's really the big idea here. It's so easy for us to look at great AI and think it's some kind of magic, but it's not. As this guide makes so clear, it's the direct result of rigorous, thoughtful, and incredibly disciplined engineering. It's a craft, plain and simple. Which kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. As these AI systems get exponentially more and more powerful, is it possible that our own human judgment, our ability to see what's right, to spot what's wrong, and to decide what good even means, is actually the single most important tool we have to build it all correctly?